Bonjour and welcome to lesson 3. Lesson 3 is titled Ils sont francophones. Ils sont francophones. This means they are francophone. They are francophone. The verb here is sont, which means are, and it is conjugated from the verb to be. For example, in English, you should say, I am, you are, he is, she is, we are, you are, they are. And that is how we have conjugated the verb être. Être, this one here. Être. So I am is je suis. Je suis means I am. Nous sommes. Nous sommes means we are. Tu es, which means you are. Vous êtes, which means you are, but in the plural form. Il est or elle est. Il est means he is. Elle est means she is. Ils sont means they are. Elles sont means they are. The difference between il with s and elle with s is that this refers to they, il refers to they when they are all masculine or male, and elle refers to they but the feminine version of it, like if they're all female. So this is how we conjugate the verb être to be able to use it in a sentence. In this case, for example, the title of this lesson is Ils sont francophones, which simply means they are francophone or they are French speaking. The second verb that we conjugate here is parler. Parler. Parler, if we conjugate it, je parle, I speak or I am speaking. Nous parlons, we are speaking or we speak. Tu parles, you are speaking or you speak. Vous parlez, you are speaking or you speak, and this is the plural form. Il parle, he speaks or he's speaking. Elle parle, she speaks or she is speaking. Il parle, they speak or they are speaking. Elle parle, they are speaking or they speak. So to speak is parler. Now, when it comes to nationalité, indiquer la nationalité. Indiquer la nationalité simply means indicate or indicating the nationality. So we have talked about this in the previous lesson, and this is basically something like a revision that we are having now. For example, here we have Camerounais. Camerounais simply refers to a Cameroonian. Américain, American. Suédois, Suède. Is it Suède or Swede? Whatever the pronunciation, but somebody from Sweden. Mexican is a Mexican. Rus is Russian. Kenyan is Kenyan. Now, these are all masculine form of nationalities. That means that they are referring to people who are male or the masculine form or the male version. And when it comes to female, we'll look at that shortly. Let's turn a leaf on this. I just want to show you that before we come back to it. Okay, here we go. We have Camerounais, but now when you are speaking about a female version of Camerounais, then it becomes Camerounaise with an E at the end. So the pronunciation also changes to Camerounaise. Camerounaise. When you're speaking about just a second, adjust the volume of this. It's really quite loud. All right, so Camerounais for masculine and Camerounaise for feminine. When you come to America, is masculine and American for feminine. This one here, American. So there's a way in which these nationalities change when you're referring to a masculine or a male person and when you're referring to a female person. So you can take note of this in your notebook. Now, there is something that is noticeable in some of these examples that we have given. And you can be able to tell, for example, chinois, il est chinois. Il est chinois. This sentence here. He is Chinese. Chinois ends with OIS. For it to refer to a female person, or the feminine version of it would have what at the end here? It would have a letter E. Just like anglais here, which ends with S, gains an E and therefore becomes anglaise. The same way chinois gains an E and becomes chinoise, and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to the titles as well, you know, we have been talking about the francophone. I will go back to that front page, but then before we go there, we are talking about artists. We are talking about artists. There is a festival of artists that are meeting in Africa. So we'll go back to that. And before we go there, there are titles of people who participate in this kind of event. We have musicians, and in French, musician is musicien. This one here, musicien. And if the musician is female, then we would have musicienne, musicienne. If the singer is male, it is chanteur. He is chanteur. And if the singer is feminine, then she is chanteuse. Animateur, animatrice. Now, this is quite different. You'll find that these three have got different ways in which they change. Animateur changes to animatrice. Like the last three letters, EUR, change to RICE. Chanteur, the last three do not now change to RICE. Instead, they change to USE. Musicien, you add an N and E. So some of these things, the best way to go about it is that you look at your dictionary, use your dictionary, try to get the different versions of people's titles and nationalities, and see if there is a difference between the masculine and feminine version. But some of them have got certain basic, you can always guess some basic tips that you can tell. For example, if the masculine one ends with EUR, then it can sometimes be TRICE, this way. Or sometimes it may not be TRICE, but instead it will become TUSE, like this. So just take note of the changes in this table. But then there are some that remain the same. So not all the nationalities would change. And I would like you to use your dictionary and also use any search engine you can use, maybe even over the internet. Find out the nationalities in French language. Just search on whichever online searching engine you have. Look for nationalities in French. Nationalities in French, and most likely you'll find them given in both masculine and feminine, and write them in your notebook. Let's go back to the front page, and I want you to listen to something so that we practice some of the things that we have talked about here. Okay. This is the poster, Les cultures francophones, French culture, or the culture of the francophone people. And here you can see there is a festival that they have announced that is going to take place. You can take a screenshot of this and find out what these other details mean. What is important for us here now is to listen to some conversation. I want you to listen to it, and then we'll discuss it from there.
Leçon 3. Ils sont francophones.
Ils sont francophones.
Activité 3. Dialogue 1.
All right, now pay attention to this dialogue. Dialogue 1.
Bonjour Xavier. Vous parlez français?
Oui, bien sûr. Et je parle anglais aussi. Bon, Je me présente. Je m'appelle Xavier Dolan. Je suis canadien. Et je suis acteur et réalisateur.
Très bien. Et vous, Saïdou?
Je m'appelle Saïdou Abacha. Je suis camerounais. Je suis humoriste et acteur.
Now, I hope you were able to understand some of or the bigger part of that conversation. Some of the words that have been used there are words that we have learned in the previous lesson. So if you are just having this as your first lesson, then it means that there are other lessons you have not been able to follow. And so I would advise you to go back to Dossier 0, Lesson 1, and start from there, so that by the time you get to this level, you'll be able to understand all the words that have been spoken in that conversation. I want us to go back to that conversation and pay attention to certain things. This is what these guys are talking about. Now, this is an interview that is taking place at this concert or this festival that has been announced on this poster. So there is a journalist that is interviewing some people, some of the participants in that festival. And among the participants, we have Xavier, somebody known as Xavier Dolan, and another one who is known as Saïdou Abacha. Saïdou Abacha. So this is the conversation that you listen to. Bonjour Xavier. Like, hello Xavier. Vous parlez français? You speak French? And Xavier responds, oui, bien sûr. Yes, of course. Je parle anglais aussi. And I speak English as well. Bon, je me présente. Then he says, well, let me introduce myself. Je m'appelle Xavier Dolan. My name is Xavier Dolan. Je suis canadien. I am Canadian. Et je suis acteur et réalisateur. I am an actor and a producer. It could be a producer or a director of a film or something like that, but mostly the meaning of a producer. Then the journalist asks the next question or says, Très bien, very well. Et vous, Saïdou? So then he's asking Saïdou, and you, Saïdou? And Saïdou says, Je m'appelle Saïdou Abacha. My name is Saïdou Abacha. Je suis camerounais. I am Cameroonian. Je suis humoriste et acteur. I am a comedian and an actor. Humoriste et acteur. So the most important things here, take note, are the terms like humoriste et acteur. These are titles of these people, especially in the field that they are working in. That is important to know. Now, if you look at this conversation, they have used the verb parler. Vous parlez français? You remember that when we conjugated it? Je parle anglais. I speak English. Then, je suis canadien. I am Canadian. Et je suis acteur et réalisateur. I am an actor and a producer. And so on and so forth. Let's listen to the second dialogue so that we see if we are able to practice certain things that we have already learned so far. Taram, turam, taram, taram, tatam.
Activité 4.
That is activity 4. Activity 4. Let's listen.
Dialogue 2.
Dialogue 2.
Excuse-moi, tu parles français?
Oui, et je parle aussi anglais, vietnamien et japonais.
Waouh! Comment tu t'appelles?
Je m'appelle Tuan. Je suis musicienne.
Tu es japonaise?
Non, je suis vietnamienne. Et vous? Pardon. Et toi?
Moi, je m'appelle Vladimir. Je suis russe et je suis chanteur.
Very well. Hope that was very easy for you. This is what the dialogue was all about. Vladimir, we have Vladimir and Tu. I want you to get that very clearly. Excuse-moi. Excuse me. Tu parles français? You speak French? And in this dialogue or in this conversation, you can realize that the people speaking here are using tu. And in this first one, they were using vous. This first dialogue or conversation was among people who are not familiar with each other. And therefore, there was a lot of respect and formality in that conversation. And that's why they were using vous. And here, these two seem to be at least peers or people who are kind of, there is no much formality between the two of them. And so you realize that they're using tu, tu, tu. And at some point, when this lady said vous, she realized that she had introduced vous for the first time and excused herself, pardon. Then she changed, et toi? So this is the conversation. Excusez-moi, tu parles français? Oui, je parle aussi. Oui, et je parle aussi anglais. Yes, and et means and. And I speak also English, Vietnamien et japonais. Vietnamien is the language that people speak in Vietnam. And japonais is Japanese. Wow. Comment tu t'appelles? What is your name? Je m'appelle Tuan. I hope that's how she said her name, Tuan. So, my name is Tuan. Je suis musicienne. I am a musician. Tu es japonaise? No, je suis vietnamienne. So he asked, are you Japanese? No, je suis vietnamienne. I am Vietnamese. Et vous? Pardon? Et toi? And then he says, moi, je m'appelle Vladimir. Je suis russe et je suis chanteur. I am Russian and I am a singer. I think that should be a good lesson for you today in lesson 3. I hope you enjoyed it. If this was too fast for you, you can rewind, you can replay the video one more time, and I hope you get to do the assignment or the quiz that follows this lesson or this video so that you test whether you have grasped the main points on this. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup and see you in the next lesson. Au revoir.